Hello, and welcome back for another adventure in the cookie jar. Today we are doing the 7th recipe from the Plum Pudding Murder. It is the frosted ginger cookies. So we are baking these right away. So we're going to need to preheat the oven to 350. We are using sprayed or non-stick sheets, however you want to do that. You're going to want 3/4 cup of softened butter, that's 1.5 sticks, 1 cup of white granulated sugar, 1 large beaten egg, 3 tablespoons of molasses, and it does have that note to use whatever you're measuring with and spraying with Pam so it doesn't stick. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. It has a note that if you're making these for Dolores to leave off the cloves, she doesn't like cloves, but Dolores is a fictional character, so why does that matter? And then 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 2 cups of flour, and 1/4 to 1/2 cup white granulated sugar for rolling the dough balls. It also has instructions for a glaze, which is 1 cup of powdered sugar and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. The recipe seems pretty straightforward. You mix up the dough, you scoop out the cookies, you roll them in sugar, you bake them on non-stick trays for 10 minutes. And you let them cool for 2 minutes, move them on the racks. Once they're done cooling, you mix the lemon juice and powdered sugar together to make the glaze. And then it says, if it's too thick, add more juice. If it's too thin, add powdered sugar. When it's just right, drizzle the tops of the cooled cookies with the glaze. Let the glaze dry before you store them. It should dry in about 20 to 30 minutes. Yield 6 to 7 dozen nicely spiced cookies, depending on cookie size. So, obviously, this is just a quick throw together glaze. Nothing can really go wrong with it, unlike last week. So I am happy for that. Everything's laid out. Let's get started. This is everything we will need for this video today. All right, so first thing we want is the butter. To the butter, we want to add the sugar. Now we're just going to let that mix up for a minute or two. All right, next we have eggs and molasses. And then we mix. It is smelling like fall in a bowl. Love it. And as much as I would love to be one of those people that say fall starts August 1st, I'm not. Because it is 90 degrees outside right now. And no matter how much I love fall and want it to be fall, it is not fall in North Carolina. Nowhere even close. It might be up north where their winters start in late October or it's freezing by Halloween, but we are not those people. Unfortunately. Because I am over this heat. All right, that looks kind of okay. Is it just me, or does it seem like these KitchenAid beaters always seem to grab up the butter and doesn't actually mix them in some parts? I've been having that problem here lately with this thing. All right. So, baking soda and salt are next. That little push. Next up we have the ginger. Cinnamon. Nutmeg. And the clove. Now see, The cinnamon and the nutmeg and the ginger say fall. That clove, I smell it and all I can think of is Christmas. All I can think is Christmas. Next, we are adding in flour. So we want half the flour. And now the other half of the flour. Now, I'm just gonna finish it off with a couple of hand stirs. This seems like a very sticky dough, and I'm supposed to ball it and roll it in sugar. And I just don't see that happening easily. So this is gonna be interesting. But I have our cookie mixture and I have our sugar. Now we have a tray, silicone mat, or sprayed with Pam, or however you like your nonstick. Cookie scoop. Enough to fill the scoop. Into the sugar, toss it around. And there we go. It does say to flatten these so they don't roll around. But when I did a cookie scoop, they get that flatness anyway, so I don't really know if I need to push them down, especially since it's just to keep them from rolling. Means they aren't gonna roll anyway. Or at least they shouldn't. And there we have it. I'm just gonna push them down just a tiny bit. And that is what they're gonna look like. I'm just gonna scoop up the rest and we'll see how many we end up with. I scooped them all up. There's 39, 3 dozen and 3. I was not expecting so little when it said it would make 6, but looking at the ingredients, there wasn't very much. Okay, so now the cookies, they're baked. They're cooling or finished cooling. We have the cup of powdered sugar and the teaspoon of lemon juice, and it just says to mix these together to form the glaze. It does not seem like a lot of liquid to powdered sugar, so I don't know if this is going to make a glaze without adding a lot more liquid. Yeah, it literally just soaked it up and did nothing. But it just says to keep adding lemon juice until it's a glaze. I'm just going to keep adding a teaspoon at a time until I have a glaze. Because I don't want to add too much. We're getting somewhere. I just don't know if it's the right direction. I think this is 4. This isn't really something you can drizzle. Okay, I'm gonna add like half a teaspoon more. 5 teaspoons of lemon juice is what you're aiming for. All right. Ooh, I have exactly enough room. All right. So it just says to drizzle this on top. I thought a fork might be better. It is not. Here they are. They are all baked, they're iced, and they are ready to eat. So the icing is still a little wet on these. It does say to give them 20 to 30 minutes to dry before you put them away. I did take 5 teaspoons of lemon juice to make a glaze, not the one that it said in the book, but easy fix. Just even says in the book, add more of this, add more of that until you get the right consistency. These smell so good. They're a softer ginger snap. Like if you've ever had the iced ginger snaps they sell in that bag, they're a softer version of that. And that lemon in the icing just sets it to a whole new level. I think I'll be making these quite a few times this year. These are really, really good. I think I have a new favorite ginger cookie. Oh my goodness. So I give these a 10 out of 10. I will make them again. I will probably make them again before the end of the year at that. And next week we are moving on to Minnesota plum pudding. I've never had a plum pudding. I assume it's like a bread pudding with plums. I don't know. We will have to find out together. If you are interested in seeing that, join us next week. I hope you all have a good one. Bye.